Our story continues at the Autobot base, and everything is going smoothly so far. The Autobots are actually gearing up right now because they're thinking about a way to do a full-scale assault on the Decepticon base, right? Or finding the warship and then just simply ending it all in one go with the spark extractor. And Soundwave is providing all the information he can at this point. Keep in mind with Soundwave on their side, this gives them such a distinct edge that it's not even funny. However, Dreadwing comes in to ask Soundwave how his progress is doing. However, this is where he feels a sharp pain in his spark, and Soundwave has to stop what he's doing and catches him. And he asks him, "Are you okay?" And this is where Dreadwing is like, "No, I I feel him. He's alive." To which Warpath's like, "Huh? What do you mean he's alive? Wait, who are you talking about, to be specific? Because, we don't want to get no type of confusion in any way." To which Dreadwing simply states his brother, Skyquake, is alive, but he feels tormented. And keep in mind, this actually goes into the whole shared spark thing, where Dreadwing does explain how he and his brother, or how twins actually work, right? And this is where Optimus simply states that shouldn't be possible. Keep in mind, yeah, he does find out about the whole Shadow Zone incident, but again, they always thought that Skyquake was really dead because, again, they never really saw him, right? But this is where Warpath simply notes, so that means Overlord must have found Megatron's whole Dark Energon stash and just used it, to which this is where Dreadwing is like, precisely, and I must go to avenge him, to cleanse and hopefully, lay him to rest peacefully. To which Optimus simply states, then we must end Overlord right then and there. Brawl, Warpath, you're coming with me. Meanwhile, this is where Sludge actually informs the Autobots of something. They're picking up energy readings, massive amounts, something similar to, and then it clicks with him, the laboratory, Shockwave's laboratory. To which Slug pretty much cracks his knuckles and states, well, what are we waiting for? Let's go find the big boss and the spider lady and hopefully come and get him. However, this is where they receive a transmission, and it's from Bulkhead and Wheeljack. Keep in mind, without the whole Toxin incident, where have they been? Well, they actually picked up an energy reading of their own. And this is where they actually state what they found. An Insecticon hive. Huh. All in stasis. To which this is where Wheeljack simply suggests that, hey, he's got enough grenades to blow this entire place sky high, getting rid of the Insecticons before Overlord can pretty much, well, get them. However, Bulkhead's like, wait. What if we can convince them to join us? However, this is where they hear something over the comms, where Arachnid's like, actually, I have a better solution. How about I add them to our army in a much more hive-like way? To which Bulkhead's like, actually, I don't think I'm too comfortable with that, but I think it could definitely benefit. I mean, we could definitely use the army, right? Especially with we don't know what Shockwave's even trying to create in the first place. To which this is where Snarl simply states, oh, I have a feeling I know what it is. However, this is where we pan over to Dreadwing, flying to the location. Keep in mind, they ground bridge just a few miles out. And this is where your Overlord is sitting there waiting for him. And the conversation will go like this. Where is he? I know he's here. To which he says, what? Who are you talking about? Oh, your brother. Well, yes, you see, I've made him my new pet. Come on out, boy, and greet your brother. To which this is where we see the zombified Skyquake come out. Feral. Just animalistic. And let's just say Overlord found his arm and just reattached it to him. So he has that. And then he simply obeys Overlord like a dog. And this is where Dreadwing sees something even more disgusting. Overlord pets him like one. Like he is nothing more than an animal. How dare you do this to him? To which Overlord simply says, oh, please. It's not like you'll be getting in any better fate than death itself. But here's the thing. Let's see if you can actually kill your brother. Sick him, boy. And this is where Skyquake simply runs at Dreadwing, where Dreadwing's like, brother, please no. And this is where, when he gets close, Dreadwing sees he really has no choice and takes out his sword and actually knocks his brother back. However, Skyquake is unrelenting, and he simply states, I hope you can forgive me in the afterlife, brother. So, as Skyquake and Dreadwing pretty much duke it out, with Dreadwing holding back to a good degree here, this is where we see Optimus, Brawl, and Warpath finally being able to flank and get around the area where they do spot Overlord. And Optimus is utterly disgusted, not only by what he heard over the comms, but by what he's seeing. Overlord monologuing and laughing at this, stating this is the best entertainment he could have ever done. A Decepticon so ruthless that he can't even be described as a monster or a devil. Matter of fact, the devil would actually be asking to be his apprentice. And this is where Optimus states, remember what I told you to. He does not survive. He isn't allowed to survive. Understood? To which Brawl and Warpath say, understood. Transform into their tank forms and bombard Overlord. However, Overlord is pretty quick. He ain't slow. So he rolls out of the way, turns into his tank form, but blasts the, I guess you could say, the ground where their foot is, causing them to come down and, well, topple forward. However, this is where they're all just simply ready for battle, right? And they all rush in. However, Overlord activates the Apex armor, and Optimus tells them to stop. So now they have an even bigger or even more dangerous situation, right? Overlord was able to force Optimus to really go all out. Forced Megatron to actually fight smarter instead of harder. So what do you think an Overlord with the Apex armor is capable of? Yeah, the dude, I don't even think I need to say that. Plus the power up he gets from having Dark Energon in his chest. From having Dark Energon surge through his body. And keep in mind, he doesn't do it in the same way that Starscream did it, where he just plunged it into his chest. Which, in all honesty, I kind of found that stupid because, like, how does that even work? I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Also, shouldn't Starscream have, like, a giant hole in his chest? Like, I don't remember Dark Energon giving, like, super regenerative properties or like that. I'm just saying. But, again, probably because the Cybertronian is still alive while they do it, and really, they had to probably be a strong-willed Cybertronian. It is what it is. But, again, story does kind of just progress on here, right? So, Overlord is taking on Optimus, Brawl, and Warpath. However, this is where they actually reveal something. They have relics. Woo! Optimus has the phase shifter, and he simply states to Brawl and Warpath to give him a distraction. So Brawl, utilizing the Renaissance Blaster, actually uses it with a combination of his back cannons to actually push the Apex armor back, to where Warpath then utilizes the Polarity Gauntlet to hold him in place as well. He bombards him, as Brawl bombards him. Then Optimus, utilizing the phase shifter, drop kicks Overlord right out of the armor. However, Overlord is very, very smart here and simply states, nah. I don't think that's going to happen again. To which this is where he turns into his tank form and points his cannon right at Dreadwing. And this is where he blasts him, and, well, he tries to blast him, but Optimus jumps in and intercepts it, getting shot right in the back and leaving him on the ground, crippled. Dreadwing, seeing what happened, doesn't play around anymore. He dodges his brother and then slices his head clean off, then turns his attention to Overlord. However, Overlord is already on top of him, knocking him back and then utilizing his agility at the same time to snatch the phase shifter off of Optimus's wrist and puts it on his own. Then, phasing through Brawl and Warpath, he runs right back to the Apex armor, grabs it, and puts it on. Whoo-wee! Yeah, ref, do something. And so this is where Overlord simply states, I got the 2 relics I need. Plus, I've had fun today. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you all live today. And who knows, hopefully, Optimus himself will live through this. And this is where he simply contacts Knockout and a ground bridge opens, allowing him to walk back and leave them there. Then this is where the group realizes what happened. Optimus is crippled. No, it's worse. He's actually flatlining at this point. How could this happen? How were they actually outplayed by him? There's no way they're going to get this far. And this is actually where they return to the base with Optimus, battered, crippled, and injured. Luckily, everyone's there at this point, including the rest of the Dinobots and Arachnid, and they're all taken aback by this. And Optimus himself simply states that he apologizes for everything. He thought he could be the one to end it. He underestimated Overlord, and he admits that as well. He didn't mean to, but this is where Ratchet simply states, just don't leave us, Prime. However, he simply looks around and simply states, leadership will fall on the one who the Matrix chooses at this moment. And well, this is where Optimus, unfortunately, does flatline, going offline. The Matrix itself then leaves Optimus's chest. It looks around, scanning for a viable option, before flying into the one bot nobody ever guessed, Grimlock. He actually is taken aback as the Matrix fuses with his mutated spark, bulking him up, causing some of his features to enlarge and to basically look more, I guess you could say, T-Rex-like, or a mixture of a beast, kind of like Onyx Prime, but a little bit more, it's like a enhanced version of Grimlock. Kind of like how Transmetal 2s almost look, if you guys get what I mean, right? And this is also where he goes now by the name Tyrannos Prime. And he looks at himself for a minute, taken aback by this. His armor, his, I guess you could say alloy, if you will, is something never before seen. Almost alien-like, even to Cybertronians. And this is where Slug is like, hey, boss, check out your new sword. And this is where Grimlock reaches behind him and feels his new weapon, taking out the Cerberus blade. And this is where he vows, and promises that no matter what, on this very day, Optimus's death will not be in vain. He will kill Overlord if it is the last thing he does. To which everyone there pretty much cheers and chants his name. However, we don't leave off here. Grimlock actually begins organizing everything. Sends Arachnid to go get the Insecticons along with Bulkhead and Wheeljack, who have to actually understand the information that just happened. This is where he then has Ratchet and Soundwave begin hacking into those coordinates while his own team, or rather the others, actually get ready to raid Shockwave's laboratory. But this is also where he walks towards the Tarn's cell and simply explains what's happened and what's been happening. Tarn ultimately does take Grimlock's offer to not only join the Autobots, but for him to be in charge of the Decepticons in order to lead a bright and better future that Megatron nor anyone else could have ever done. And, well, when he lets him out of his cell, they clasp hands, ready to undo everything Overlord has caused. And that's where we're going to leave it off here, you guys. Please comment down below, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And let me know how you like every twist I did so far. Peace.